go ahead and get into our hot three.
I'm the heat in your lungs. I'm the smoke in the sky. I'm the gas in the tank. Gonna turn it up, turn it up. I'm hot to the touch. Burning up. I'm hot to the touch. I'm hot to the touch.
All right, boys. So it is spooky season. As you kind of played on during your opening of this week's show.
Oh no, that was just all about the Browns.
Next
Next week will be my spooky season intro.
Yeah, but last week we did Halloween candy. I wanted to continue on the trend, right? This week we're going to do Halloween movies. And by Halloween movie, that could be horror.
Any horror genre movie.
Well, no, it could be horror. It could be comedies. Just movies that you watch around Halloween time. So typically, mostly, yes, horror movies. But it could be like Beetlejuice, for example. Not scary, but funny, but it's a Halloween movie.
Fair enough.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, like Tim Burton's.
Yeah. Nightmare Before Christmas, those types of things. Yeah. So with that, who started last week? Do we remember?
I don't remember.
I don't care.
You started last week.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
That was what a nice fellow I am.
Gentleman.
Bone, you're going to start this week.
Oh, okay. All right.
What do you got?
All right. So, man, I have like 7 lists here. So I'm going to list 3, right?
Yeah, it's only a hot 3. We don't do the hot 7.
I just throw a few out there. I'm like, yeah, what this? All
You
right.
keep them from honorable mention at the end.
Okay. So number 3, I'm going to go Creep Show. I don't know if this is like from the 80s, but when I was a kid, the Creep Show.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
The Creep
Show.
Have you ever heard of like Tales from the Crypt?
That was fantastic. That's a show, or else I might have put it on my list.
That was like based on a comic, kind of like a comic book, I guess. Some scary comic book from the past. I was like looking it up because I always get Tales of the Crypt and Creep Show mixed together. Like I always thought they were the same thing. But Creep Show is actually kind of based roughly on comic books too. But it was actually a movie. Creep Show was a series of shows or something like that. But it's just something.
Tales from the Crypt was a series of shows. You got it mixed up again.
Did I?
Yeah. Creep Show is a movie.
Yeah, Creep Show is a movie. Tales of the Crypt was a series of shows. He gets them mixed up so
often.
Yeah.
He got them mixed up right here
in the middle of the hot 3.
But it's in his hot 3 somehow. He doesn't even know what it is.
It was one of those. I can name you some of the skits that were in the show. All right, there's like the guy who like grew a bunch of like asteroid stuff on his skin. And there was like the beach one where the
how do you grow space matter on your skin?
It's just like these spoofs, but they're like scary. But I think they were kind of be funny. But when I was a kid, they're scary. I shouldn't have been watching them. So
like I'm traumatized.
You throw me for a full fucking loop on the very first one. Like I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. But now I'm intrigued, and I'm probably gonna go watch it.
This is Halloween, and it is the Creep Show, my friend.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks for the ride, lady.
No idea what that
pretty
means,
sure
but
that's Creep Show. My brother will appreciate that. You know what? So number 2, I'll go more modern. I'm going to go The Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That movie scared me when I was a kid because I fell for the whole thing. I didn't know the twist, and it was
you can say the twist.
It was all very
like
real.
Some years old.
It was
now,
all very real to me. The ghosts and whatnot. So and the spirits or whatever was in the movie. It's just like a scary little kid, and it's just
I think the fact that movie came out when we were all younger, and so like you really related to the kid. You're like, oh god, like, these are all the ghost stories that I have in my head,
and just the stuff you hear in your own house when you're walking around.
That's what I mean.
Like, what was that?
Yeah, like you create these stories in your head, and they put them into a movie with a kid as the.
You get that cold wind across your neck, and
yep. It feels like somebody's sitting on your bed when there's nobody.
Fantastic
there.
movie. M. Night Shyamalan has really fallen off though. His movies are kind of trash now, but that was in his heyday he was the king of the big twist at the end of the movie.
Top notch.
Yeah.
Man, there's so many I want to talk about, but I'll go on another modern one.
Number 1.
I have a few older ones too that you guys probably don't know.
This is your number 1.
So I won't bore you with this, but my best one is The Strangers, the one that came out in 2008.
Ooh, that was a good one. Yeah.
Oh god.
With like the
didn't even think about that one. So
the flour sack over their heads.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it just related with me because I'm like. All these other ones, I'm like, this isn't real. I don't believe any of this crap. But The Strangers struck me because the characters in the movie who were getting killed by these people, they're like, these people show up at their house. They're like, why are you doing this to us? And they're just like, you were home.
Yeah.
And it just creeped me out. You know, just some psychos, just like, they just target you because you're home.
Bone. I got to tell you.
They terrorized them.
That was actually when I was thinking about this last week, that was my number 1 because that was the scariest. To this day, it's super creepy and scary to me.
The new ones I haven't seen, they looked not that good, but that old one from 08, I guess, was
terrifying.
So, yeah.
terrifying. That's my number one fear from our Fears Hat 3 is like home invasion and like street violence, like
random violence,
random acts of violence. Yeah, that's what that movie.
Yeah, that
was
movie
about.
fits that perfectly.
What is she? That guy gets like stabbed in the belly with something. Like
right in the belly.
I don't,
It's
maybe
been
it was
a
a
minute.
knife.
I don't even know if I rewatched that movie. I was like, I don't like this.
That was one of the worst things I've seen.
Nice. That was a good hot 3 other than that one that I don't even know what it is.
You gotta look it up.
I'm going to watch it now. Keep your other ones for honorable mention.
All right.
Kenny, what's your hot 3?
My hot
Halloween movies.
How
I want to know what your hot 3 Halloween movies are.
I got to be real honest here. Like, I'm not a fan of like scary movies or Halloween movies.
You are a little bitch. So.
I would rather watch rom-coms every day of the week. Like throw me a good like Fever Pitch or
Along Came Polly.
Just Friends or like I'm all about those movies. I hate horror movies mostly because they scare the shit out of me.
Again, you are a little bitch.
So going back to my hot 3, number 3. The original Scream, 96.
Ooh, good.
Nice.
Again, we were little when that came out. I vividly remember that movie freaking myself and the Bone Man out so bad that we had to go pee together in the bathroom together. Not like
Nice.
that's what I was gonna say. Not like as you would as adults. Like let's go to the bathroom and just be in the same room together. Nah, we went full out peeing together. We were like, well, we got to go in the toilet at the same time.
We played-
You take your eye off the other one, something could happen. Yeah.
I mean, that was usually like a weekend thing for us. That happened a lot.
That's true.
That's fair.
We took a lot of baths together too. Those things happen. But yeah, I just remember just being terrified by that movie when I was little. Number 2, another one that I refused to watch ever again because it scared me so bad the first time is Dawn of the Dead.
Wait, hold on.
Good one.
Rewind.
Great zombie
You refused to watch Scream ever again? It scared you so much?
No, I just don't like horror movies.
Okay,
So
I
there's some
was gonna
movies-
say like at this point like you're an adult now, so you should be able to understand that Scream is like it's very very what's the word I'm looking for when they like break the fourth wall and just like talk shit about themselves. It's very I'm doing you from last week, like how you couldn't think of the word. Yeah,
I don't know what you're thinking of, but
it'll come to me.
But I still probably wouldn't watch Scream again because I don't derive enjoyment from like trying to somebody to scare me. Like I don't
Anxiety,
like that.
just like
it just makes me breathe heavy. I don't like
Fair.
it. Number 2 is Dawn of the Dead. This movie was terrifying because it wasn't your typical zombie flick. These zombies were fast as hell and athletic and just like from the get go, this guy wakes up and like his daughter's infected and she's like I don't know 5 and just comes and like eats mom and it's just terrifying. Just so much blood and gore in that and just the most ferocious, vicious, athletic zombies I've ever seen. Not the zombies like from Walking Dead that you can just like you can blend into the crowd and they won't eat you. So yeah, I don't like Dawn of the Dead. And then number 1 for me, this is one that I'll rewatch over and over again. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's a remake, and I've never seen the original, but Scorsese's 1991 Cape Fear with Nick Nolte, Jessica Lange, Juliette Lewis, and of course Robert De Niro, who's just an absolute menace in this movie. I don't know if you guys are super familiar or not, but essentially Robert De Niro is...
I want to watch.
There's another one I'm putting on the list.
Robert De Niro is like...
I'm surprised you've seen this and I haven't because you hate horror movies and I actually really like horror movies. So
yeah, Robert De Niro is like a rapist and his defense attorney is disgusted by him and so withholds evidence, gets Robert De Niro put away. So when Robert De Niro gets out, it's his mission to destroy this guy's family. And it's just... he's just an absolute menace in this movie. And the creepy all the way. Like the daughter's 14, and there's a love thing going on with her, and just Nick Nolte loses his absolute shit. It's just a terrifying.
You had me at Nick
thriller of a movie.
Nolte and Robert De Niro. Like I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm watching this.
It's a great movie. So yeah, I have some honorable mention. I have one honorable mention as well that I'll wait for, but those are my top 3. And Strangers, like Bone said, is terrifying as well. I hate that movie.
Nice. All right. And so for my hot 3, I'm going to start out number 3 here. Sleepy Hollow.
It's a good movie. I like that movie.
With Johnny Depp.
With Johnny Depp.
Ichabod Crane.
Yeah, it's just because it's not like super scary, but it's just scary enough. Like they did a very good job of taking what's more or less what's been turned into a children's story at this point about the Headless Horseman, but they gave it just enough of like a scare factor to where it was like, ooh, this is pretty cool. And it was Tim Burton, so it's like it's in Tim Burton style. It's kind of that whole thing going on. And this is before I feel like Tim Burton got to Tim Burton, if that makes sense.
Tim Burton's really out there now, like way out there, way more out there than he was.
Yeah, and I think this is more in the vein of like you think of Edward Scissorhands and those types of things.
Instead of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. Yeah. So really good movie and just well done. I mean, they had what's our boy's name from Joe Dirt?
Clem?
Yeah.
Miller?
Not Des. Walken, Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken
okay.
as the Headless Horseman.
Yeah.
Doesn't talk at him, which is a crying shame. But because I would just love for the Headless Horseman to walk up, what do you mean? Is
You're talking
but-
about
Where's my head?
you're talking to my boy all wrong. You do it again, I'll cut your head off. But you know, I mean. Yeah, Christopher Walken as the Headless Horseman. It's just a good movie. But number 2 for me is It, the made-for-TV movie with Tim Curry as It.
Oh, that's scary.
The new one was actually, the remake was actually very well done and very well acted. The special effects were fantastic, all that stuff. But there's just like this nostalgia thing with Tim Curry as It, and he's just like so creepy, goofy.
That was the other one that scared me.
Yeah, it scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, and again, it came out when we were like.
I saw that at Bones' house.
Yeah,
I
we
always
watched
wanted
that
to
when we were
watch
young.
movies like that at my
was
house.
one of the.
I don't think
first-
I ever finished it when I was a kid.
That was one of the first like real scary things that I watched, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, it comes up through the drain or through the gutter on the street or whatever the case may be, and he takes on the form of your worst fear, and it was just like, this movie's awful. Like,
the street that I grew up on had a couple of like sewage drains like that on it, and man, I
Never
was,
went
like,
by 'em.
riding my bike
Yep.
by them every day, just like that was my only.
you're like,
thought.
what's down there?
It's terrible.
Yeah. So it was a classic one. And then my number 1 movie, it's why I've got the sweatshirt on today, which is the original movie poster from Halloween, the original Halloween movie. Launched the career of Jamie Lee Curtis, but just a fantastic scary movie, fantastic slasher movie. It actually launched the genre, is credited with launching the genre of slasher movies. And it's where a lot of the classic tropes come from as far as horror movies go, because it wasn't intended for slasher movies to be like the virgin never dies and like if you're seen having sex, like you're definitely dying in the movie. Like that wasn't the intention.
Black guy dies first.
Does a black guy die first in Halloween?
That's the
In every
stereotype.
stereotype. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he never, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know if that one was Halloween, but like, but a lot of them came from Halloween because it was the first time it had really been done to that scale. And so the big one is Friday the 13th immediately wanted to capitalize off the success of Halloween, and they played up all of those things and like made it a big deal and like talked about it. And meta is the word I was looking for earlier. Scream is very meta, where like they basically play on the fact that like this is a movie, and they like wink at the camera and stuff like that. Like they don't actually wink at the camera, but they make jokes to let you know that they know they're a movie. But yeah, anyways, Halloween's where a lot of these slasher movie things came from, because
There's so many Halloween movies.
yeah, there are now. And I have my own thing on that and the whole series in general.
I think the last one I saw was Halloween H2O. I saw that in theaters in like 7th
Probably the next best one besides the original one, by the way. But no, it just, the Halloween was originally the Babysitter Murders, and they didn't think that would sell anything, so they made it Halloween, because it's contrary to what most people know about Halloween. In the original Halloween, Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't his sister, so it was literally he showed up and was just murdering random babysitters. Is how it started. So
Nice.
yeah, so Halloween is my favorite for all of those reasons, and that'll do it for my hot 3. Let's hear these honorable mentions, guys.
What's Bone got? Bone had like 6 of them.
All right, Haunting in Connecticut.
Ooh,
I thought that, was pretty
another
creepy.
scary one.
Yep.
Yeah. Hated that.
People Under the Stairs. That was one of the ones I didn't think anybody would know.
I
That
have
was
no idea
another
what you're
one that
talking
we
about.
watched at your house when
Yes.
we were little.
Okay.
Another
Just
scary
creepy. It was a
I'm gonna
weird, like
take this list
abusing,
and go watch
abusing
them.
kids, like lock them in the cages in
doesn't
the
sound
basement, and then one of them escapes and is like in the walls, and You just hear creepy things in your house. You're
That
like,
and children.
roaches in the walls. Like, yeah, I don't know.
That and Children of the Corn.
Children of the Corn. I have Children of the Dam down on my list here.
Guys, Children of the Corn, I showed my wife a few years back, and like as an adult, things just aren't they don't feel the same. And she saw Children of the Corn, and
a lot of them are really cheesy now.
She was like, "This is literally the worst movie I've ever seen in my life." Like, this is like, I've seen a lot of bad movies, and this is it. This is the
Scared
worst.
me when I was little.
Yeah, I agree, and I'll still rewatch it if I see that it's on. I'll be like, "Ooh, there's a good one. That's a classic." Any more?
The Leprechaun series was always interesting when I was a kid.
That's the other thing about horror movies. They launched the career of like all these actors. Like Halloween, you can point to Paul Rudd was in one of the Halloween
There's
movies.
a lot of pretty girls that got their
Jennifer
start
Aniston and Leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
You go back to Friday the 13th, and you've got Kevin Bacon.
Wasn't Tara Reid in a scary movie to start a slasher film?
I'm not sure. But Jamie Lee Curtis, we already talked about. Like, there's a number of them. Like a lot of well-known actors got their starts, in a big horror movie.
I think
it's
Jessica
always-
Biel was like in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
There you go.
Yeah. It's always funny to go back, like when you're watching a movie, so like a well respected actor or actress, and you go back and like that's in their credits, like something like Leprechaun 3.
Kenny, you have any honorable mentions?
My honorable mention is Final Destination, the entire series.
Good
Yeah.
one. Good one.
Those ones I'll go back and watch because they aren't as
To this day, I can't drive behind fucking log
But
trucks.
anytime you see the log truck on the road, just like because it takes all of your worst fears, like even the newer one where the girl's getting like LASIK surgery and then the laser goes haywire in her eye, just like burns her.
The
face
guy gets
off.
stuck to the drain at the bottom of the pool.
Oh yeah, the girls that get in the tanning bed that get fried alive. Even the
Weightlifting accident.
Even the big accidents, right? Like the airplane crash, the car crash, the NASCAR event, the bridge collapse, like all these things, and the roller coaster, the people are flying off the roller coaster. Like it just takes like your biggest fears and plays on them, and then makes these gruesome deaths. And just this idea of like death has a plan for you and you can't outrun it. It's just.
It started getting crazy for me when
Terrifying.
they started like playing onto that too much, though. Like it should have just been like, it's coming for you and you can't stop it. Instead, they were like, but unless you like kill somebody else or somebody has a child.
I think in all
or,
those
like,
movies, even when they cause it to skip, they eventually end up getting their upcomings.
Yeah, that's true. Anything else?
Even I think the new one ends up. You think it's a sequel, but it turns out it was a prequel to the whole series because they were getting on plane 180 for Paris at the very end.
Nice. Do you have any other honorable mentions?
No, that's mine. That's all the Final Destinations.
Yeah, I'm not going to throw any out there. I like a lot of horror movies, and I could take all day on honorable mentions, so I'm just going to abstain instead.
Smart.
But